Welcome to My Life on Paper. I am Briana and I have a 3 for today. I'm working on 3 haps. First is Stamp It Like It's Hot, where we take a prompt, which is stamp on a photo. Next is Baby Got Scraps, where we only use one piece of 12 by 12 paper. And then the third is the Big December Sketch Fest, and I'm using this sketch by Lisa Sikorsky, and the prompt is monochromatic. I knew right away that I wanted to use the stamp set Adorning Corners by Close to My Heart. It is about 15 years old. And I start off by using Stays On, and I grabbed a picture that I knew I wasn't going to use. I've done this already on a layout with a smaller size photo, and I just wasn't happy with how dark it was. The stamp or the ink was juicy. It just wasn't, it kind of gave more of a vintage or, so I get out my Catherine Pooler, and this is archival black ink, and watch what happens. Da, 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 da. It's perfect. So I wasn't sure how this was going to dry, but here is a picture of myself and my daughter, actually Meredith, who's that picture up in the corner. I actually had to order a Dirty Shirley for me, and every bartender seems to kind of like roll their eyes or giggle when you order a Dirty Shirley, but that's her drink of choice. And so I'm just going to document this little story. And and this isn't perfect stamping, but that's okay, especially when you're talking about drinks, right, at a bar. So this works for me, and with these pretty red drinks, I then am going to use my red paper, and so these are how I store my scraps. And so I'm going to go through these to see, I want to get different papers for those triangles on the layout, but I want to get the same kind of hue of the red. So and I want to get different interesting papers. So I will go through my scraps. I have them all separated by color. This is pretty standard. I do keep some pretty small pieces. There are times when I get up the courage just to throw them away because I'm generally not going to use the small pieces, but you just never know, and you can punch a couple things out of there too. And sometimes I'll do that as well. So I'm just really looking for things that coordinate together, about 3 different pieces. And then again, that interest. Like, I don't want 3, obviously, pieces of cardstock. That one's not going to work for me. I will use some of those more, I don't know if they're burgundy, but kind of dark red colors. I'm also making sure they're big enough that I can get two triangles off each piece too. So that was a little bit tricky. But I'm going to use that striped, not the zigzag, that striped, and then a couple pieces that are behind it. The XOXO wins out, and then that piece right there with the pink, it's a pink border on it, but I won't use the pink border. So I'll get those out of the way. I will have to go back in there to get matting pieces for my photo. Here I use my Cricut. I made several different size triangles and cut them out. I'm not good with doing my triangles on a trimmer, so Cricut to the rescue. Here's where I'm finding that swirly piece of paper to mat the photo. And I'll trim that. One was that one's 5 by 7, and then the next one is 4.5 by 6.5. I know I talk about this a lot, but I love working with sketches. You can take from it as much as you want or as little inspiration as you like. I do follow this one pretty closely, and it's just a helpful way for me to get started on a layout. And I love Lisa's sketches. So down below, you will see a list of everybody that's playing along with Stamp It Like It's Hot and stamping on their photo. You will also find some people, and mostly they were doing it last month. It's the December Sketch Fest by Scrap a Sketch. The Facebook group as well as the website will be linked below. You have until January 31st to get your layouts into the sketch album. She did one the month of December every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And there's different prompts with each one, and there will be drawings for prizes. And then the third one is Baby Got Scraps, and that is by Kristen at Kristen's Crafts. And everyone playing along with that will be listed below. Some people are doing it every day. I'm just jumping in when I can. So here you can see I pulled out my embellishment box, and I have one of those in each color as well. And I'm For my monochromatic layout, I am just pulling in different red items, trying to keep with that darker red color. I always pull out more things than what I actually use, but I like to have options. These are not from any collections, they're just kind of things that I've collected along the way. I'm going to throw some of those little stickers on top that are kind of like, well, it's the hearts. There's also stars, but there's banners on top and things like that. Those came from planner stickers, so I'm slowly using those up as well. Anytime if I punch something out of scraps, I'll throw it into the color box as well. This is the part that takes me the longest with my scrapbooking. When you use a collection, it can be so much faster, but I've collected a lot of things over the years that aren't part of collections. So it slows me down a little bit, but I find it very enjoyable. It's the creative process. It's finding just the right pieces to get on there. And even though I might not be able to tell you, like how I came across each one, I have a pretty good memory of how it came into my collection. This is a recent piece. I don't use that on this layout, but I do believe I got it as like a clearance on Scrapbook Generation. I did write the date down on the back of the photo. I don't often do that, but this one, I just, to make it easier for myself. I do have mine dated in chronological order in an iris container, but I pulled this one out and just didn't want to forget when it was, so. Next, I do believe I go and use my ATG to get this all adhered down. I am using a 4x6 photo and not the 4x4 or approximately 4x4 photo that you see. So mine will look just a little bit different than the sketch, and that's okay. I know I do need one more layering piece according to the sketch, so I'm going to be looking for that shortly. But I will get these glued down in about the right places on the right side of the sketch or layout. This is my very first layout of the new year. I think I had one other video up this week, but it was done last year to get ready for this year. So I have to remember to write that down in my tracker. My goal for the year is to keep track of my layouts to see how many I've done, to be able to do more next year. And I think it's always fun to know how many you got done as well. There's really no rhyme or reason how I lay out these triangles. I just eyeball them and then look at the sketch and then adhere them down. Here I have another red scrap of paper, and I will just trim that down to the approximate right side, get it glued down, and then adhere it to the paper, and then I'll start working on my clusters. I'm interested to know, do you have any scrapbooking goals for this year? I don't usually do any kind of spending freeze. I just try to be intentional with what I am buying. And I have set my page goal in the past as 365 pages, which I believe I've always hit. However, I'm not good at tracking them, and so I never know. And that's why my goal this year is just to track how many I've done. Here is a little sticker. It's a chipboard sticker. It says, "This is real life." That red circle was just punched out of pattern paper, and it's been sitting in my stash a bit. And then I try to kind of get a circular element in each of the embellishment clusters. There is a chipboard red flower up in the left corner, and rather than the circle. Here is a photo corner clip, I guess. I'm going to end up using that on the bottom there. And like I said, those hearts are planner stickers that are slowly getting used up out of my stash. I've got these cute little flowers. I'm going to get one of those into each of the clusters, and I do put a brad into that clip for the photo clip. I am using my Barely Art glue to glue these pieces down. Generally use my ATG, but with these little pieces it is easier to use the liquid glue, and this liquid glue is really nice and then it dries clear. So I've run into problems with other glues that don't dry clear. This one is really nice. I struggled a little bit with this cluster because it should be more off to the right. I didn't want to cover up the stamping at all, so I do move mine a little bit more off to the left. And I have these arrows that I got at a scrapbook retreat, just kind of on a for sale table. and I got to use those. It is from the Stamps of Life is the company. And they're wood pieces with a red arrow. Well, it's got blue and kind of a red, green color too. And so I'll get each of these clusters down, and then I'm pretty well set, except for I need to go find something more for that left upper cluster. So I'll do that in a moment. So I have to tell you about my drink. My drink is on the right. It is an old fashioned, and if you're not from Wisconsin, you might not know exactly how a Wisconsin old fashioned is made, but I like mine with Crown Royal apple, and it's delicious. It's sweet if you like sweet, so I would suggest that. But hey, let me know below if you have a good drink, I'd like to try yours as well, because I'm always open for a good drink. And I hope that doesn't make me sound like an alcoholic, because I really, if I have one drink a week, that's a lot for me. So here I went into my travel items. It was sitting next to my desk, and I've got this tiny little red arrow sticker, but I need something to make it stand out from the red flower, so I find this black heart. And that is everything. So have a fabulous day, and I will see you again soon.